That is what this traffic looks like as at this third day of July 2023. All right, let me introduce my guest, Major Mwithi in studio. Karibu sana, Major, to Good Morning Kenya. Good morning. Karibu sana. Let me start, first of all, 52 people lost in one night is not a small number as a country. What do you make of that?
Let us, first of all, let me thank you for inviting me once again. And I think it's a big loss to the country to lose 52 souls or citizens of our country.
Yeah.
Very sad affair. But then it goes back to commitment. There are people who are designated to give services to this country, na nafikiri wanalalia kazi yao. A tragedy will occur, but if we are serious in what we are doing in this country, then those souls, 52, should not have happened. And I'll go back to the terminology that we are used to in this country, corruption. Corruption is something that we should all take very seriously. And if I was to be asked, a full-fledged ministry of anti-corruption in this country should be established as yesterday. Now, one thing is this. I'm not going to blame our police officers or any other person. But what I'm saying is that we should be very, 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 very serious with what we are doing in this country. When you are discussing about our newspapers here, sadly, one of the members who are talking about that traffic accident did say that it is so sad. The same people again, after watching what happened, they are refusing to get out of that enclosure where they were doing what was happening. What is the reason? I think again it goes back to our economies. Those people cannot dare put their lives in risk if they have something in their pockets. You understand? So I think we should go back to the drawing board and see what is happening. Those administrators who are along that side, the world administrators, whoever is there, should put their foot on the ground to save those people. It's so sad to say that hawana mahali ya kupelekwa. Hawana mahali ya kupelekwa namna gani? I think we should follow the rules. And rules should be maintained in this country. I think it's the lack of following the rules. People who were there, they knew that. I'll give you a very good example. I went to Kenyatta Hospital the other day to take a patient. There is a tree towards the end where there is these cafeterias. That tree is so huge, it is hanging on people, and people are just taking tea down there. So we're supposed to do that. One of them, I think, I complained to one of the officers and it was cut. If something happens, then we are going to lose people. I think
absolutely.
It's the time that whoever is given responsibility to take care of the security of the Kenyans should be very seriously and should be held accountable.
Okay. I'm getting in touch with Mheshimiwa Joseph Cherorot, who is a member of Parliament of Kipkelion East. And Mheshimiwa Cherorot, good morning. You are live on KBC Channel 1. Good morning.
Good morning, Victor.
Very well. You're live on air, and I would like you to give me an update as this particular morning, what really happened, and what are the total figures we have right now.
Victor, for your information, we had this accident which happened about 3 days ago at Londiani Junction, whereby there was this truck which was carrying cement. It's Sarwadi's vehicle, and the truck actually swerved off the road, and we lost several lives. So far, Victor, we have lost 52 lives because of that accident. All of those who are affected were 77. As we talk, Victor, we have some in Kericho and also PGH Nakuru who are recuperating. And some of them had leg injuries, some of them had broken limbs. And the response from Red Cross and also the medical team at the county government of Kericho, being led by Brenda, who is the CC Health.
Yes.
And and also the team, also like CS Murkomen for transport, and we also had Njeru, the land CS, and the PS himself, internal security, Omolo, came over. So for your information, Victor, because we didn't have capacity at Londiani sub-county hospital, we had to evacuate most of the patients to either Kericho or Nakuru, and we remained with 49 bodies at Londiani. So far, 18 bodies have been actually moved by their loved ones to several morgues like Umash and some even in Kericho. And we have a few of them now whom we have, Red Cross have assisted us with a container, a deep freezer, which carries about 100 bodies, because our morgue only accommodates 16 bodies.
Right.
So far, we have the deep freezer, and yesterday the doctors actually cleaned the bodies and they preserved at the inside the deep freezer. And for now, things have cooled down. Most of the families have come to identify their loved ones who passed on. At PGH Nakuru, we have 8 and 1 in ICU, but stable condition. And some of them also, like one has asked actually to be moved to his home area in Bungoma. That was from Kericho. So far we have had a very good response. Even the PS health also came, Harry, and they also dispatched some medicine of about 1.8 million to the area. And another thing, Victor, is that right now we are planning for a memorial service for tomorrow. And we expect His Excellency the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to attend, and several other dignitaries will be coming. Yesterday we received also the CS Florence Bore came, and we had several other members of parliament who have been coming to condole with the families. So otherwise the response was enormous, and also the security team and the public actually did a lot of work, especially those around Jackson, those who are doing business.
Yes.
They really helped us in taking the injured people to hospitals, and also the security team led by the area OCPD, and also even at night the regional commissioner and even the county commissioner, we spent almost the whole night that first day until about 4 a.m.
Okay. Mheshimiwa, please just give me the correct figure, because you're not getting the correct figure. 52, 50, 54, the death toll as at now?
As at now, Victor, the figure stands at 52.
52.
Yes.
Okay. And there's a question here of traders who were ordered to vacate that area by CS Transport, that is Murkomen. As we speak, a majority of them, almost all of them, are still back in that particular area. What do you make of that, Mheshimiwa?
Actually, Victor, handling human beings is very difficult. And also, those people, I want you to know, Victor, the background of those people who are selling those, the maize and even vegetables, fruits around that area.
Yes.
They are from humble families. And Victor, the county government and also the Minister of Transport, like today, they are going to erect the speed bumps and also the signs indicating that there is a market ahead. Otherwise, when CS Murkomen gave those orders and instructions, the members of the public actually requested to be given ample time so that as we plan, this is something that you cannot act immediately, because it involves a lot of participation and changes. I believe like today, Kenya will be on the ground as per the instructions of the CS Murkomen and also the NTSA team. So I believe that today, even the container had not been removed on the side.
Right.
Because it was difficult to remove the container. The owner of the truck is not picking calls You know, as I told you earlier on, the vehicle belongs to Rwandese.
Yes.
And since he realized that the police were looking for him, he's not been picking calls. But yesterday, another container was sent because we were waiting for KRA to come and break the seal. And then the semen will be offloaded into another container. Then we can get rid of the other container from site.
All right. Very, very fast, Mheshimiwa. The last question is, you've told us the Deputy President will be there tomorrow at Londiani Stadium for an interdenominational prayer. If I got it right.
Yes. Pardon?
If I got it right, the DP will be there tomorrow for service.
Yeah, we are expecting him.
Okay. So what is the government going to do in terms of, is the government going to do bill waiver for the affected families?
As we talk, Victor, like the governor, Susan Kehika from Nakuru, actually I saw her posting yesterday that she's going to take care to offset the bills for those victims who are affected, especially from Nakuru. Same thing with the governor from Kericho, Dr. Eric Mutai. What even the county have done was that the postmortem which was being done, being accident victims, postmortem had to be done, and the postmortem which was done was waived, has been waived by the county government of Kericho. So tomorrow we expect also to fundraise for those families.
Okay.
We also had a national disaster team who have come on the ground from the office of the president, and they were taking the details of the victims.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mheshimiwa, and we wish you all the best. I know you have a busy day because this happened right in your constituency, and please thank you so much for talking to KBC Channel 1.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you so much.
All right. All right, that is Member of Parliament, Kipkelion East, Joseph Cherorot, talking to us. Just give us an update of what really happened. Just to give a quick one, the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, will be in Londiani Stadium tomorrow for an interdenominational prayer at that particular place where that accident happened on Friday night. As we speak, according to him, 52 people so far confirmed dead. The number of fatalities and those injured remains at 36, and some of them were ferried to different hospitals in Kericho and in Nakuru counties, saying that Susan Kehika, the governor of Nakuru, has promised to do waiver for people who are coming specifically in Nakuru County, and even Dr. Mutai, governor of Kericho County, will also do the same to the affected families. Interestingly, some of them are coming as far as Bungoma, the way he said. Some of them just came there, Major, to do business. That, I mean, it shows how many people are walking and traveling far and wide in search of a way to survive.
I think we should also appreciate our Deputy President that is going there. In fact, this should be a national disaster. And I wonder why our national flag should not be even half-mast. You saw, to lose one soul is a very big loss. And you hear those people are coming from all areas of our nation, going to look for maybe something for their own, and it is. I'll go back again and say it's a commitment.
Right.
And there's a tendency in this country, wherever a calamity occurs, we tend to run and try to piece together and do it, and then we forget all of a sudden.
Okay. You know, I want to bring it back to you.
It's not good. We are very forgetful.
You're very forgetful.
Yeah.
Your background is all known. The level of discipline you get from your training, from the moment you get into a training school until now you're retired. Tell me, with this figure that you are getting from this, the NTSA, a number of drivers failing the tests, what do you make of that in terms of discipline?
Let me say something, and I'll also give you an example of my, I've already updated, I'll show you my driving license. Let me tell you something. In this country, and I'll go back to where I said, and I have a reason for that. In this country, we should be able to have a full-fledged ministry of anti-corruption, irrespective of those institutions which are very weak in terms of policies and law that are working right now, okay? We should have a very, very working ministry of anti-corruption in this country. There is a narrative which is going in this country that we cannot finish the corruption. I think we can. depends on the attitude of our civilians. Let me ask you one question. You'll see our political leaders going to the rallies, campaigning. Have you ever seen any political leader creating a civic awareness to all the people in this country about corruption? And yet, all the time we are fighting corruption, and it's going to hurt our nation. You understand? So it goes back to the basics of the corruption. And I think when you invite people who come here and shape our political opinion to our citizens, they should come up with remedies of how we can do it. The Kenyan people have the will to do it. I'll give you an example. And I'm so sorry, I'm not inclining anything about the traffic police officers on our roads. Today, truthfully, you are in a matatu, you'll see a police officer going in front of a matatu, talk there is given 50 shillings. That police officer cannot do what he's doing if those leaders there, that traffic commandant, and I'm sorry, I'm not against him, I don't know his name, the traffic commandant in this country, what is he doing? The corruption with the traffic police is just an example. It is too much. We are seeing it. We are doing nothing, you and me, and yet we blame Ruto, we blame the government. I am the government, you are the government. What shall we do to that traffic policeman who gets every day in our country 50 shillings? He must have a commander who is taking care of him, says, well, let a pesa. Traffic commandant in Kenya must be held accountable. If we have to be very serious in eradicating corruption, we can do it, but we don't have the will. We always say the government. And let me say something to our Kenyan citizens who are watching this morning. President Ruto is our president and commander-in-chief of Kenya Defense Forces, okay? But is only given that mandate by the Constitution of 2010, okay? So whenever anything happens, we tend to blame the government. Ruto is not on our roads. Ruto is not anywhere in the institution like KEMSA where they're stealing money day in, day out. Yeah, we should support anything. When you see something wrong, as a Kenyan, be patriotic enough to point it out there and there. I'll give you an example about the hospital fund. These hospitals who are taking money, we know them. You are a patient, you go, you see how they are treating. When it is about 200 shillings you have used it, they multiply it to even 100. We know it. Until all Kenyans are given civic education to fight corruption, Kenyans have got power and zeal and synergy to fight it. But there's no civic awareness. We are not told anything. We already think that corruption is here with us to stay. And it's a normal thing in this country. But if we have the will from up and down, we can finish it, and that is what is really bringing problems, and that is what is bringing a lot of problems that our economy is so down there.
Perhaps it's because of complacency. We become a bit complacent as Kenyans and become so comfortable with the situation as is. But it takes me back to the question I asked you about the discipline that we have as citizenry. What can we do as a citizen? Because first of all, as you said, the president is not on the road. The CS is not on the road. It's you and I who is on the road. But most at times you'll find a vehicle overloaded. But Kenyans, some people will not speak because of, I want to get to my destination pretty fast. Last time, the president, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, ordered NTSA and road agencies to do proper signage and mark all the roads. I'm a frequent user of the roads. I can tell you, you wake up today, there's a bump somewhere with no proper signage. Who to blame?
I think that question is very simple. We need to follow our rules. We need to follow our rules. We have a COK of 2010, the Constitution. It's very clear. We cannot blame our rules, but the implementers of those rules are the ones who are sleeping on their jobs. Let me be very frank. They are the ones who are sleeping on the roads. And again, let me tell you one thing. If our political leaders up there are taking things seriously, that they are there to do what is supposed to be done to our citizens, everything is going to be good. But we have taken politicians to be everything in this world. They are the ones who decide what you will eat. They are the ones who decide everything in this country. Then the normal civilian is exposed to the politicians. It is at such a time that we should interrogate our politicians.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think
in regard to commitment.
That's commitment. Okay, let me cross over to something. Today is the day, moment of truth for CSS to know their fate, whether they are going to resume office, and it's either going to be a dent to President William Ruto at the courts that we are going to broadcast live at exactly 9. Our crew is headed there for that live coverage on the truth about the CSS, whether they are going to be given that green light to assume office or otherwise. But then, if struck down, the decision could worsen setback President William Ruto so far faced. But let me ask you, at a time that the country is faced with a lot of financial difficulties, what would you make? 50 or 23?
Let me say this. We have just come out from a very divisive general election, isn't it? We made a very big mistake. I'll come back to your question. When we existed from that general election and the government was formed, we forgot one thing. And this, I must say it truthfully, and every Kenyan should listen. The politics that we had soon after the general election was very divisive. The country was divided right in the middle. You understand? Our politicians should have, and I think should be anchored in the law, that soon after the election, soon after the general election, those parties, the party, the Kenya Kwanza and the Azimio, should go back to the people and tell them, okay, this is the outcome of what you have said, this is the government that you have formed, yes, but now we are already divided, let us now come back. The unity of the nation. Yeah. It was left, people were divisive, even today people are divided. I think a law should be formulated by our legislators that as soon as we come out of general election, we should, those people, the winning party and the losing party should go back again to the people and tell them, okay, we are finished, you have done your part, you have given us a government, but we are divided, we are the Kenyans. That was forgotten. You understand? And that is why now we have a problem. And let me say this to the opposition, and I don't like using opposition. In our constitution, we do not have opposition. It's minority. Our president, Ruto, was democratically chosen by the people. There was contestation in the judiciary, and all was done. What we have now is our president, okay? There's no doubt about that one. Legally, and the people appointed him. So, our honorable Raila should understand that. And what makes me very sad is that Raila and our president, they know each other. And even they said in the press that kila mtu anajua mwenzake. No, to call a rally on Sabasaba Day, surely. This Raila is a very prominent, anafaa pewe heshima, amefanyia nchi hii a lot. He should be able to communicate to the president. This is what we want. It is not necessarily going to be handshake, because that is where the problem is. They should talk together. They should accept that this country should move on. You understand? But going to Sabasaba, it is their right, constitutionally, democratically. But imagine how many people are going to die. And I'm very sorry. I'm not suggesting that people will die. People's businesses are going to be disrupted that day. The economy where you are talking about, how much money we are going to lose on that disruption in this country, and this Nairobi is a capital. Everybody's looking at this capital. Why can't they go and sit down and sort out the problems? Those are the people we chose, okay? And something else, our elders in this country, unlike in South Africa, where the elders have a prominent issue, they can talk to Ramaphosa, where our elders in this country, national elders, who can go and talk to President Ruto, can go talk to Raila, and we sort out without spilling over to the wananchis who are really stuck with the economy. They want to feed their children, and the state of the economy is what you think. You have said that the fuel now is 195. I can assure you, with the next 2 years, when the IPRA is going to do the changes, it'll go to up to 100. It's affecting our citizens. Watu wende waongee, wawachane na hii siasa za upuzi hapa. We have a country to continue. You understand? Right now we are talking, we have our security agencies suffering outside the country, defending this country. What do you think the Sabasaba, what is going to happen? Let them talk, The wazee waongee, we want a peaceful Kenya.
What is your take on the state of our situation, our nation right now, so to speak, politically, economically?
Politically, economically, if I give you the number, averaging between 100, we are doing about 45%. We're in a serious problem. Something must be done. And that something is the political leaders to sit down and talk, and then things will be okay. Kenyans have got zeal, they work day and night, trying to envisage the economy. But our political leaders all the time ni kuingiliana, kupigana. We don't need that. We don't need political rhetoric in this country. We need peace, and peace is the only instrument will move the economy of this country. Peace. We need peace.
Yes.
Kenyans need good environment to work. They really work very hard. You understand? But our political leaders are failing us.
If you are to be given time and space, Major, to sit down with President William Ruto and Honorable Raila Odinga on one round table, what would you advise the two gentlemen?
I don't need to go to the round table. They are listening.
If you are, hypothetically, if you are to sit down in some corner somewhere.
I should tell them, before they bring the political issue differences to the public, they should sit down and iron those ones. They can do it politely.
What solutions would you give?
And let me tell you one thing. I think President William Ruto has got a very challenging situation. And right now, I think what he should do, and I think President Ruto should be able to be a lecturer, trying to bring out the leaders of the generation to come. And I'll mention some of them, and I don't fear mentioning them. We have a generation of leaders. Very soon, they're going to take over after Ruto comes in, after Ruto exits. Of course, I know, for sure, without doubt, Ruto will take 10 years, will take his time of 10 years. Okay?
I mean, that's we cannot ascertain.
No, I'm telling you.
An election is a 5-year cycle.
No, I'm not politicking. I'm telling you.
I mean, that's for Kenyans. That's
it's for Kenyans to decide. I agree.
That's for Kenyans to decide after 5 years.
You should try also to bring on board, train those leaders of tomorrow. And I'll give you an example of those leaders. We have the governor of Nairobi, Sakaja, very good governor. We have Mwithi, who is the Minister for Transport, I think.
Yes.
We have people like majority leader in our National Assembly. We have many. We have Kangata, the governor. Those people should be trained. I can assure you, around those people, there are so many. There are so many. There are so many. Even the civilians, there are so many. He must mentor them, because that is where we're going to get the president, the next president. That generation I'm talking about. Those people should not be taught that you are Kenya Kwanza, you are Azimio. You should bring them on board and tell them we have a country. And out of those people, one of them is going to be the president. Most of them are going to be the leaders. Those are the leaders. And I'm challenging the Raila also to stay back a bit and try to mentor some of those leaders who are in the minority, so that they can come together and they forge this country ahead. Rather than politicking all the time. We don't need politics in this country. We need it, but to some extent.
Absolutely. What do you make of our politics in the country? Because a majority of politicians will always go back to, they say that politics is all local. But do we have issue-based politics? Are we changing, or we are still going back to the old books of the 80s, 70s, or even 90s, taking that old book and dusting it, taking the manual and running with it in our political rallies? The
problem with our politics is self-centered. It is the stomachs, and the mwananchi is left there. Mama Mboga is there, but when it comes to kutaka skura, then Mama Mboga is very important. The youth, the hustler, is very important. Then after some time, they are forgotten there. I'll give you an example of devolution. Devolution is very important in this country. Thank God to COK of 2010 that it brought the devolution. The problem was in the hierarchy in the government, national government there, where resources were mismanaged. Now, the devolution has come. It has taken us development to the rural areas, and I'm challenging those who are in charge of the devolution to our counties to to give more resources to the ward MCAs. You understand? Because the MCAs are the ones who are the people there. The MCAs are the ones who know what the people on the ground want in terms of development. But now you find out that more resources are held in the county headquarters in the national government than going down there. When I was doing my master's in governance, I had a whole unit of devolution.
Right.
And I did write in my write-ups that the more resources should be given to the ward representatives there, because they are the ones who know the needs of the people. You understand what I'm talking about? Our local administrators, the chiefs, it is so sad that yesterday I went to one of the sub-chiefs areas in Mugomoini, and I found a chief there has no computer, and yet we are saying we are pushing on the technology. A chief has no vehicle, he is only given a motorcycle. That chief is very enlightened, he's near to the people. The wazes of Nyambakumi, we are fighting drugs these days. Our children have gone away in terms of drinking, in terms of drugs, in terms of misbehavior. The nyumba za wazee wa nyumba kumi, they should be given something to motivate them.
Yeah.
You understand? And when we do that, more problems will be alleviated in the rural areas. As opposed, you'll find so many government vehicles here, government wastage is a lot in the country. We should make the devolution work, and every Kenyan should support that, especially our political leaders.
I'm so sure MCAs watching this will be so happy with you, because they've been agitating for a fund and monopoly to manage their funds in their respective wards. That has been a very big issue, with MCAs calling for their salaries to be reviewed upwards, as well as to be given that autonomy, the financial autonomy in their wards. I think MCAs will be so happy to hear that.
And you are very sad about, I saw you very passionate about following the sadness of the 52 souls there.
Yeah.
I would wish our president also, before his term, to try very hard to make Nairobi-Mombasa road dual, and from Limuru to Nakuru to be dual, because we are also going to lose so many people there because of the accidents.
Yeah, that's underway.
That is my call.
If I got it right, the Africa Development Bank gave Kenya some green light if they could actually get some funding, some percentage to start the dualing and the expansion from Rironi towards heading to Mau Summit.
Because
actually, it's one of the most dangerous roads in Kenya as we speak. The western circuit of that road is one of the most dangerous. All right. So let me ask you this question, Major. You know, as a nation, we come as a situation where we look at our leaders. But what role do we have to play as citizenry in shaping our governance?
There is what has been enshrined in our Constitution, which is PP. PP meaning people's participation. I think where there should be a civic education in trying to create awareness of every Kenyan citizen to participate, if he can, in all matters pertaining to the development of our country. I think space should be given. They are doing everything. Sometimes there's conferences, people are invited to come and talk on these agendas, but the time and space is very, very limited. I think the space should be wider. The spectrum of people participation in our country should be given, because the people know where the problem are. I think that is my call that should be heeded.
Do we have, because most Kenyans do delegate duties and their roles and powers to politicians, but we also have that mandate to guide our leaders to the direction that we want our country to be governed. But do you really think that Kenyans, we are pushing towards that direction, or we leave it fully to the politicians or the leaders to take charge and run with the show?
We are empty. And I'll give you an example. Like now we have Omutata. He's a single man fighting for the people. We have NGOs. Where are they? They speak very little. I think the performance of NGOs in our country is very minimal. If not to their own interest, it's very minimal. They have been given the mandate by our Constitution to fight for the rights of our people. But mostly it's very few leaders. You'll find them talking when a tragedy has occurred, like Shakahola. But down the line there, you don't do them doing much. It is the money that they are using from the outside.
Yeah.
I think our NGOs and everybody, of course, every Kenyan should participate in trying to make sure that Kenya is a country that everybody can play a part. You understand? That is what I mean. But this notion of serikali, president, everybody has a role to play. If we have to engineer our economy forward, everybody has a right. And our political leaders, again, I will urge them, especially our national representatives in the parliament. Those people should create awareness to our people, whatever they want us to do. But most of the time it's politicking, 5 years politicking, and that is the end of it. Yeah.
All right.
And there's very little we can do to remove them.
Okay.
Until after their term of 5 years.
Okay, a quick update here is that that ruling that was supposed to be made today about the CSS, which was supposed to be done in Court 1, third floor at 9 a.m. about the CSS to assume office or to take up their positions in their various ministries has so far been moved to 2:30 p.m. due to unforeseen circumstances. That is the update we have right now, that the CAS judgment has been moved to 2:30 p.m. today from 9, which was some minutes away, probably would have been around 40 minutes away from now, but that has been now moved to 2:30 p.m. We have no details as to why that has happened, but yes, that is the law. I mean, certain things do happen, but the ruling will happen, but it will happen today later at around 2:30 p.m. That's a quick update. So stick around for that. The
comment on that issue is that let us give the president space for him to work. He has chosen the commanders that he wants to work with. He cannot work alone. Let us give our president that space that he can choose the people whom he thinks can forward his agendas. Understand?
Yes.
Let us not rush very quickly in trying to say our president has not delivered. Let us give him the time.
What is
there's a lot of politicking around. Let us give him at least 2 years. At least 2 years.
What is your view on the state of our economy?
Okay. Our economy is that it is. But what I can see is that let us not cry too much. I'll go back again. Let us give our president, whom we chose democratically and legally, space to work. And I think our president is very smart. He cannot put us into problems. Some of these things that is bringing, people are opposing, sometimes later on they can be of value. Remember the many things that Uhuru, the former president, wanted to do, shifting from the analog to the digital. People created a lot of problems. What is happening now? Let us give our president support.
But without dwelling so much on the president, generally, our state of economy, because president's an individual and we give him that mandate as our leader, but generally, what is our state of economy? What is your outlook moving forward in the next 2-3 years to come? Kenyans to play a role. We are going into agribusiness. A majority of youth are also going into technology, digital jobs. What is your projection 2-3 years from now?
The good thing that we're having is our Kenyan population is very resilient in hard work. They are going to be supported by the changes that we are having. Our economy is going to improve. It's going to improve because if you go anywhere in Kenya, outside Kenya, our people are hardworking. And I'm very optimistic that our economy is going to grow. The only thing is we should bring the political temperatures down and focus on what and support especially our Kenyan youth to do anything. And I'll give you an example. The piki, which is very informal, it's called Boxer.
The border.
When Kibaki took over, he brought it. No one wanted to bring these things here. He brought them, and there were 80,000 shillings. Now they are running up to about 170. I think if they can bring that prices down a bit, many youth who are unemployed will take advantage of that one. What is there is economy will grow, I can assure you. because our people are very resilient, they are very hardworking, they have a synergy to work. It is only that they are going to be supported. Our economy will grow.
Yes. You've done your master's in governance. What Kenya perceived out there from our big brothers, because as you speak in East and Central Africa, or probably Africa as a continent, Kenya plays a pivotal role, generally speaking. So what is your vision? What do you think Kenya, how do you think Kenya is being seen out there by our brothers across the world?
I was talking to a fellow from Tanzania, and he was telling me, if you want to go to London, you shouldn't go to London. Come to Nairobi. Why was he telling me like that? He is very proud of what we are doing. Kenya is in the area of East Africa, is seen as a father. All the examples that Uganda and Tanzania and the neighboring countries like Rwanda and Burundi, they are all doing, they are all sampling, they are all coming here to see what we are doing.
Yeah.
We are a region that is really respected. You understand? The region which is respected, and if, God forbid, if we continue with this political temper, then we are going to lose that. Internationally, we are regarded as a country that is growing very, very much faster. And those countries who are superpowers, we are talking about Britain, we are talking about America, we are talking about Russia, whatever, they are looking as a Kenya very strategically in terms of security, in terms of economy. Kenya is a country that you cannot ignore within the East African region and even in the continent.
But do we really appreciate that?
We appreciate that, but the problem again is our political leaders. Our political leaders are not seeing all these things. What they are seeing is their stomach. That is the problem.
Unfortunate.
That is the problem.
Unfortunate.
That is the problem.
Now, I want to ask you a very pertinent question, because the president spoke over the weekend the issue of banditry and cattle rustling in the north, and we also have the issue of Al-Shabaab attacks in some parts of Lamu. Your background as a military officer, how do you think this issue should be addressed? Let me start with the issue of North Rift. The president said it's going to be finished once and for all. We are in the 21st century. From your own experience, how should we handle these cattle rustlers and bandits so that they get flushed out once and for all?
Let me say this, and let me appreciate the role that the government is doing in terms of insecurity in North Rift. Our interior minister, Nura Kindiki, is doing a lot, but he needs support from all institutions of security in that area, beginning with huyo mzee, nimesema mzee wa kijiji. Imagine in an enclosed area like this one, something happens. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including Ramsey and the others. Something happens. Don't you think we should be very naive not to understand who has caused the problem? The structure of our administration right from the village should be strengthened so that the chief must be held accountable if something happens in his area. You understand? It is going to be very difficult if something happens in Laikipia North, for instance, in regard to cattle rustling, someone in Nairobi to know who did it. Let us strengthen our rural administration so that they can know what is happening there. You understand? Let us put the resources that we need, open up the roads, open up everything in those areas. Those young men there, and I really appreciate what Kindiki did, because they are going to build more schools. You know, education is something very, very fundamental. It can change the scenario in an area. Let us bring the schools there. Let us, the political leaders who are there, talk to the people, create civic awareness about security in that area. Let those people there be given some things to do. Engage them. You understand? The NYS issue, let them be observed. Hata kama walifika standard 8, hata kama let us be engaged there so that they can all the time they are engaged. And when, like in the military, sometimes soldiers could be 1,000 there. We engage them with some work so that they cannot think anything bad about that place. The local administration in those areas which are banditry problem, they should be given resources for them to know what is happening there. Our political leaders know exactly what is happening there.
Yes.
And something good enough, I'll mention here. If a political leader is known to incite people to do the business of castle, apelekwe kotini ashtakiwe, irrespective of his dignity, ama ye ni nani ni nani. Let the rule of law take precedence in those areas.
I'm asking this question because of your background and experience. Did it really happen during your time in the military? The banditry?
Banditry has always been there. If you look at the history of banditry, hata wale wazee wa zamani walikuwa naibana mifugo tu. It is there. The only thing now should be contained, because imefika mahali it is so serious that wanapoteza maisha, wanaua watu, they are killing people. Where are these guns coming from?
That is a big question.
Yeah? Where are these guns come from? The local leaders, again, they know where they're coming, and the joint operations from our neighbors countries like Uganda and Somalia, they should come in. And I think our CSC Interior is doing exactly that. And I'm very sure, you ask me a question, it will go. It will get finished. I've worked in those areas, I know. I've worked in Somalia. I was one of those officers who captured Kisimayu. I know what is going there. If we have support from our intelligent institutions, we shall finish it.
It must have been a very tough situation for you, the initial stages of capturing Kisimayu. It was not easy. But pictures and videos and images coming from that region shows a complete changed environment. It's a beautiful country.
And that is what I'm saying. Right. I'm crying to our politicians. When our young men who are portraying the tendencies of loving their country out there suffering, and our politicians are politicking, it is a shame. It is a shame. We must be very patriotic. Every Kenyan must be very patriotic. We have no other Kenyan to go to.
Absolutely.
Imagine you and me and Ram there and my friends.
Yeah.
We just go to Tanzania as refugees. Where do we start? Where do we end? Peace is very important, and everybody must work for peace. I was in this country. I was here in Nairobi in 1982 when we suppressed the mutiny, which was flagged here. Things were very bad. And it was only 3 days over the weekend. Please, all our politicians, let us embrace peace. Irrespective of our political inclination, divide, let us have peace. So that huyu mama mboga na huyu kijana mdogo apate a future Kenya. We have a Kenya to take forward.
1982.
Yeah.
KBC played a key role. Remember?
I know, I was here.
Story for another day.
Story for another day.
Story for another day.
Yeah.
Having military camps in the North Rift is a good idea to deter the bandits and all that in the North Rift. The president is quite adamant and very straightforward as saying this is going to end.
It was supposed to have been done even yesterday. We need security agencies in those areas to secure our country and to finish whatever is troubling those people. Imagine a family loses a breadwinner because of a cow. What does that mean, surely? Okay, we appreciate the dynamics of the society embracing their cattle. That is a cultural income. But then, if it is equated to the cost of life of a Kenyan, that is bad.
Okay.
That is bad. We should have them there.
I have a question from a colleague of mine here asking, how is Kisimayu right now?
Kisimayu has been pacified.
That is just, but by the way, now that you raised the point.
The last time I was there, it was peaceful. Those Al-Shabaab who are there, they went to hiding. And you know, it's a war that I should applaud the military, not because I was one of them.
Yeah.
It's a war that it was fought on 3 boundaries, and I'll tell you. 1, it is God. We say thank to God. 2, professionalism of our soldiers. 3 is the discipline. And discipline is not na kuogopa wewe ni mkubwa. It's to do the right thing, the right time, when it is required. When our soldiers went to Somali, we were in the midst of an enemy, okay? And then we were able to hold those fellows. If it is not because of those military personnel who were there, even Nairobi would be having so many incursions. You understand? But they did a very good job. Unfortunately, we lost a few of our colleagues.
Yeah.
and there's ultimate price to pay.
Nature of a battlefield.
Yeah, in the battlefield, those things, they have done something very good for this country. Al-Shabaab are very bad people. They can do anything. They don't fear. And my experience with them, it was very horrifying. But now they are very peaceful. And there's one thing I said. It is good that now we are doing a drawback. I'm not a spokesman of the military, but this is the public domain. We are doing a drawback. The Kenya government has trained them. International people have put a lot of resources to empower their government so that they can deal with the insurgents. I'm very happy that we are coming out from Somali so that we can come back to our strategic boundaries and give security. We have lost in terms of human lives, in terms of the cost, the economy that we are talking about. A lot of resources were taken to Somali so that we can pacify our boundaries and help our neighboring country, which has not had peace since Siad Barre left Somali. So I think it's good that we draw back, we come back, and we leave that country. We shall be supporting it because we are neighbors. You can't leave a neighbor suffer. Otherwise, if he suffers, the sufferings will also come to our country.
Yeah, we keep on visiting and asking, how are you doing?
And that is why Kenya has been given a lot of recognition internationally for bringing peace in Sudan, for bringing peace. We are using resources. So that is another question, another answer that I should tell you that we are being. The international world is very proud of Kenya. Kenya is very strategically being recognized by the other countries who have interests in the whole of the continent.
All right. I'm told that we need to wind up. But my producer is asking me, which year did you join military?
That is my personal. I joined the military in 1980. I have served 34 good years as an education officer. I was just in charge of the education of the military. And many others military, we have done something good. And let me say this as a parting shot.
Kindly.
Kudos to our military personnel wherever they are. Those who are in Congo.
Absolutely.
Those who are serving in Somali. Our commanders who have taken over from the General Kebuchi. Our commander now, who is the president, for doing good work. We are keeping peace for our country. I'm telling you, if we don't have those security agencies, even our neighbors are going to be very jealous. They can even come in very good. What I'm calling Duale, our minister, and I think he said it, but I'm encouraging to bring in modern weapon that technology that can safeguard all our intelligence fellows wherever they are, so they can work without. We can minimize the dangers.
All right.
You understand?
All right.
And they're doing very good, and we are safe. And our military personnel are doing very well, as opposed to the militaries in the West, where the economy is down, wanatoka na matangi. Remember, our Kenyan military is apolitical, meaning that whoever is there, we support him. We have nothing to do with the politics. Let the politician engineer. You have never, apart from 1982 and before the Kenyatta regime, we have no problem. Our security agencies in the military, their only task, the primary task, is to defend our country in the boundaries, the Kenya Navy, in the water masses, the Air Force, when the enemy comes in the air, and what to boot Kenya Army. You understand? On the ground. Right. We have nothing else with the politics. And the politicians should know that, so that we don't, when the military gets into the politics, like in Russia, the Wagner, you have seen what is happening there. It's a mess. Our military is strictly defending our country.
Absolutely.
And when we are supposed to be called to assist the civil authority, the police, we come in. All the time we come in. But we have nothing to do with the politics, and I'm encouraging them because we have come out from there. They are doing good work. There's no politics in the military. It is poisonous.
I love the way you're speaking with that with a lot of passion.
Yeah.
With a lot of passion. All right, Major, retired.
Thank you.
Peter Mwithi. We've talked a lot of things, almost 360 degrees. Matters economy, matters security, and matters situation in our country. Having you on board is an absolute pleasure. All right, that's why we wrap it up. Family Check is up next. I see my guest already in studio. Ramaguko is going to be handling that. But right about now, let's take a break. GMK continues after this. Good morning.